Hello everyone. So I want to talk about this and we talked about it many, many times, but I do think it's important because we see with a lot of young people and we see with a lot of people in general, they feel that democracy and elections and everything is meaningless, that it means nothing, it changes nothing in their life. In a lot of cases, 99.9% of the cases, they're right. It changes nothing in their lives, it changes nothing in their pocket at the end of the week. It is only barely 1% of society that benefits from them, and what I mean by that is the politicians that enrich themselves. And you know yourself, for the last few months, I've seen the world very differently, and I truly believe this, and I said this before, that the counties of Ireland, including Cavan, should seek more autonomy, and we should invest that power, take the power away from Dáil Éireann, and give it back to the people of Cavan. What I mean by that is through the county council, give it back to the people, because I think this whole idea of democracy, and I think this is the reason why people feel it's so meaningless, because every 5 years we go out and vote for our councillors or our MEPs, etc., and then you don't, after them 5 years, you hear about them for maybe a week or two before the election. They say they're going to build this and they're going to do that and they're going to do the other, but then when the election's said and done, you never hear from them until the next 5 years, and then you hear them promise everything again. And people are sick and tired of it. People are sick and tired of cowardly politicians that are afraid to speak up and afraid to talk. And this is the thing. And it's just the cycle keeps repeating. So that's why I always, for the last year or so, I've suggested that in the 1937 Constitution, it wanted to give people more say, more power in this country, instead of giving it to the elite, politicians from Dáil Éireann to Shannon Éireann to county councillors only make up maybe barely even 0.8% or so of the population, 0.08% maybe the population of Ireland. So why would them 0.8% make decisions for the whole people of Ireland? Because, as we know, politicians are only out for themselves and for the people that invest in them in the world economic forum, etc. And I think the people are the sovereignty of a nation. Without the people, we're nothing. And as I said, that's what would make people feel like democracy matters, when they have to say, when they have the total say. Because at the end of the day, what's happening, we're having politicians telling the people what to do. And I disagree with that fundamentally, because it's not the politician's job to tell the people what to take and how to do and what to do. It's the people that's there to tell the politicians what to do. And I think we've lost meaning of democracy, and I think we've lost direction. Because what we're looking at in this state now, and what we're looking at across the world, is the politicians telling the people. And that's not the way democracy is. It's the people telling the politicians what they want. And I think the only way to do this in this godforsaken country is giving the people the vote. And what I mean by that is the people vote in the county council chambers. The councillors are only there to hear what the people have to say and to vote with the people, whatever the people want. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. It doesn't matter what they personally think. They can, of course, have their own personal views. But I generally believe that it's the people who should be deciding, take for example, if it's where the money should go in the local authority, what the local authority should prioritise. Should they prioritise housing? What should they prioritise? Or roads, etc. And the councillors' paychecks too. I know they were shorter here in that phrase, but I think that's what it should be. And people would feel less like democracy and the whole will of the people is meaningless. Because a lot of young people think it's meaningless to vote for the people who say give me a free house, and they don't get a free house and then they have to leave because they can't afford the rent and they can't afford to live in this country. But this is the thing, if you give the people the say, things will be able to be done, because the people know. And at the end of the day, the politicians think that the people are stupid, and they think the people are idiots, and they think they can, they know all, basically. They think they know all, and they think they can govern all, and they think they're almighty God in a lot of cases, but they're not. The people know the best. The people know. The people live their lives. The people are not sitting in palaces, and the people are not sitting in council chambers on the door listening to grovel and in their own fucking delusions. The people live their lives. The people pay the bills. They know rightly what they want, what's annoying them in society, what they're concerned about. And that's what I'm in favour of. It's not about giving, and same when I go probably in the next election, the local authority election for the council, because I don't believe any, like talking about the roads, I think the main thing is the system. The system needs to be destroyed. that's here at the moment. The system needs to be rebuilt, and what way we rebuild is given the people to say. Of course, we have Dáil Éireann and Shannon Éireann, but obviously the power would be less than they ever did have before because it'd be given to the people, and they would have to listen to what the people say, and that's as simple as that. Because at the moment, we're listening to what the politicians are saying, we should be listening to what the people say. And I think democracy is just a farce nowadays. The whole phrase has been hijacked by a group of elite that want to rich themselves on the pockets of the poor man and the poor woman. And I generally believe that, and I generally honestly believe that. And I think if we don't interact this, and it's only going to get worse, and it has got worse, because we can't trust such a small group of people in decisions that matter to the whole nation. And to take for example, Cavan, we simply cannot trust a few individuals to do what's best. Years ago you could. Nowadays, unfortunately, there's too much money and there's too much power at stake, and it corrupts people. It endeavours to corrupt people. It endeavours to turn them bad, and endeavours to turn them away from the meaning of freedom and the meaning of democracy. That's what I personally do think, and that's why I suggest that counties, take for example Cavan and Monaghan, should look for more autonomy and should be more autonomous, and then the people can decide what they want. Because I think democracy, a lot of people, majority of people would agree that they feel hopeless in democracy. They feel like it's all just a farce, and in a lot of cases it is, unfortunately. And that's simply the thing. Because regardless of the vote for Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin, the Labour Party, Social Democrats, the man in the moon, they get the same thing at the end of the day. They get a load of politicians telling them what to do, what to take, how to do it, when to do it. And people are fucking sick and tired of listening to that waffle, because at the end of the day, it's the people that tells the politicians where to go and what to do and how to do it. It's not the other way around, and I think that's the fundamentally wrong thing in society, particularly in this country, that we have lost the meaning of democracy, lost the meaning of the people too. And again, the politicians think they know best, they're no best than the man in the moon. But anyway, let me know what you think. Do you agree with that? Because I generally do believe in that in my heart and soul. And I do think this is the best way forward for this country. Instead of giving it to another individuals, like take for example myself, I don't want the power. The people should have the power. Whatever being better councillor, you follow whatever the people say. It's simple as that. I think that's the best course of action. Of course, you can have your own opinion, but I think that's the best course of action, because the people are the sovereignty, and the people are the people are your overlord at the end of the day when you're councillor or TD. And I generally believe that, and it's not about taking power, and I couldn't care less about a witness myself, etc. Because you can't take it with you. Whenever your time comes, you can't take it with you. And I think that's the best attitude I've heard any councillor ever come, when the councillor or any person that ever thought about running for the council in Cavan ever say. Because not one has ever said such a thing like that, but I generally believe it, and it's the most radical thing imaginable. For any councillor to say, I don't want the power, we're giving it to the people. It's the most radical thing, but I think it's the most necessary thing. Thank you.